Brandon Holt on assignment from Houston, Texas, with my good friend Miss Elaine, who is a sign language expert all the way from Los Angeles, California. Deanne, top of the morning to you.
Good morning, Brandon Holt. I am wonderful this morning. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
You got it. You got it. So we're talking about the deaf community. First of all, I want to commend you for the work that you do in your community. There are some stigmas out there, Deanne, and the first one is don't yell, exaggerate, mouthing, or mock sign language or make obscene gestures, which is offensive. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Well, first of all, let me just be clear. I am not a representative from the deaf community. Rather, just understand they can speak for themselves. I'm more of an ally, a support. And after, gosh, my involvement for over 22 years, I think on my journey, I have a little bit of information I can share about how to engage and communicate with the deaf community. So, to answer your question, oftentimes people feel that if a person can't hear, then the first thing they go to is saying, "Oh, let me yell at them. Hey, can you hear
Hmm.
me?" Now, the person's hard of hearing, I can understand that being appropriate. But a deaf person, people usually say the word deaf instead of deaf. And so it's just tradition, history, of making the error.
So Deanne, is it? What's the politically correct term to say, deaf or hearing impaired? Because I heard that deaf is offensive, and then I've also heard that hearing impaired is offensive.
Okay, that's a really good question, Brandon. So just understand you have a medical perspective and you have a cultural perspective. Now, from the medical viewpoint, doctors believe that if you are missing any ability or sense, then that is a hearing impairment. Something's broken, something's wrong, and they feel that we need to fix it. From a cultural perspective, deaf people label themselves simply as deaf. So the word hearing impaired implies that something is broken and needs to be fixed. And deaf people do not feel that they need to be fixed.
Interesting. And you also said that we, as people who can hear, need to be very cognizant of the fact to not label a deaf person as, you said, deaf mute, deaf dumb, and also hearing impaired. Now, I haven't heard of deaf mute and deaf dumb. Are those common terms?
Well, today, deaf mute is not a common term. It was used back in the day in the 1800s when we didn't know what to do with deaf people as a hearing population. And so, unfortunately, a lot of oppression happened where deaf people were grouped into the same categories as those that had, mental disabilities. And so the word they figured they associated hearing with speaking or hearing or with hearing with deafness. Your ability to hear with speech is what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry. Your ability to hear with speech. And so they connected those two. So if you could not hear, then that must mean
Interesting.
you cannot speak.
And I'm also interested when we go to Instagram. Everyone, we're going to go to Instagram in a few moments, so make sure you go to at Brandon Holt Show. At Brandon Holt Show, we're here with sign language expert Miss Deanne Elaine, giving some great information, good knowledge, and the conversation is going to continue, and we want you to be on this conversation. So thank you for tuning in, our Facebook family. We're talking about how to engage the deaf community. I'm Brandon Holt signing out with Miss Deanne Lane on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live, and we will see you in just a few minutes.